Okay, hello and welcome to today's video. In the previous video, we have already completed how to use set of object properties, like how to provide color, line type and line weight to the set of objects. In this video, we'll be learning how to work with layers. Now, layer is something which is very important and very interesting topic in AutoCAD. You might have seen in the previous practice diagram as well. I keep on changing some layers from here whenever I start doing the solution for the practice diagram. Now, there is a reason for that. Now, layer will help you to manage your drawing. So as I told you in the beginning of the session, that we'll be learning three things. That is how to create drawings, how to modify drawings, then how to annotate drawing, as well as how to manage drawings. Okay, so this drawing management tool layer will help you a lot in terms of creating any form of design you wish to. So let's say for this example, I'll be creating some layers, then I'll be explaining you the use case of layers. Now for layer, the command is LA enter. Okay, for layers, the command is LA enter. Now layer is basically group of object properties. So we have already learned object properties. So layer is basically group of object properties. Okay, so it's a group of object property. Now let's go to the command LA enter. Now we can already notice there is a layer which is pre-created here, that is 0 layer. So technically up till now we were creating drawing in the layer called 0 or layer named as 0. So as of now we have not created even a single design out of layers. Okay, we were always inside a layer and the layer was 0 layer. Now what I'm going to explain you today will be basics of layers. We will be not going more in advanced part of layer, but yeah, some basic controls of layer which will be very important for us to understand. That is what we are going to see here. Now to create a new layer, you can create a new layer by clicking on this button. Now when we can use layer and how we can use layer, for that explanation what I'll do is I'll just close the layer dialog box. I'll open one of the pre-created drawing. Now this is a very huge drawing. Okay, it has many elements, like it has computer, it has chairs, telephone, it has the name of the employee, it has serial number for the employee and various things. Now if you notice layers here, there are many layers which are created. So let's say for example, my client wants me to change the color of the chair. Now I cannot simply go and select each chair and then change the color of each chair, because that will take more time. Okay, because changing color, as we know, if I want to create a circle and if I want to change the color of the circle, I need to select the circle and then change the color from here. So similarly, if I want to change the color of each chair, it will take a lot of time. So what I can do is I can simply go to my layers. I can search for the layer chair. Okay, in this case, this is the layer. Then I can change the color from here. For example, I want to change it to blue. Okay, and you can notice in the drawing simultaneously all the color changes to blue in which that particular chair is. Let's say for printout reason or for some any other reason, I just want to hide my chairs. So I can simply turn it off and my chairs are now hidden to make the plan look cleaner. Similarly, I want to hide my CPU. I also want to hide my phone, but I'm not sure where the phone layer is. So what I can also do is I can technically select this object. Okay, and that will show me the name of that layer right over here, and then I can hide it from here. So even I don't even have to figure out where the layer is. So these are some tips and tricks related to layers. Similarly, employee name, you can see employees here, and I can similarly turn it off. Okay, so layer can contain some objects which can have similar properties, and that way it will be very easy for you to manage. So this is what layer is all about. Okay, now in this video we'll be learning how to create a layer. Now for creating a layer, first of all we need to go for a command called LA, that is layer. Okay, and after going to layer, then we can create the layer I want to. Now based on the kind of drawings you are creating, for example, if you are creating a drawing related to civil, then there will be different set of layers. If you are creating a drawing related to mechanical, then there will be different set of layers. For example, in civil drawing, you might need a layer named door, you might need a layer named walls, you might need a layer named windows, etc. But for general drawing application, you might need hidden lines layers and other layer as well. Now I'll create a very simple layer. Okay, I'll just, yeah. So now I'll click on layer. Okay, now here you can provide name to the layer, whatever name I want. For example, this is known as object. Okay, this layer will be objects. And we have already learned how to create reference lines. So I'll just give it a name called reference. Okay, and let's say I want to create one more layer called dimensions, where all my dimensions are going to be there. Okay, so I just created few layers here. So I'm not creating the list of number of layers, because we are just learning how to create layers. Now, once I create a layer, okay, then what I can do is I can change the color for each layer. So let's say for this layer, I want a color, any object in the object layer will be of color red, Any object in the reference layer will be of green, and any object in the dimension layer will be of yellow. So I can define the color like this way. Okay, and then what I can do is I can simply choose the layer in which I want to work. For example, currently I'm working in 0 layer. So I can just simply change to object layer. Now I'm working in object layer. So if I create any object, it will be created with red color and inside that object layer. Okay, it will be created in red color and inside that object layer. Similarly, if I change my color layer to reference, then I'm working inside my reference layer. Okay, so automatically my layer got changed. Similarly, if I'm working under dimensions, so now my object will be yellow, and now I'm working or creating my objects in dimension layer. Okay, now let's say my client told me all the objects in the reference layer should not have this line type, it should have dotted line type. So what I can do is I can first go and load the line type, and if you remember, for loading the line type the command is LT. Okay, so I can press LT and I can load the line type, and inside the line type I can search for, let's say, hidden line. This one, hidden 2 is what I want to use. I'll click OK. So the line type is loaded. I'll click OK again. Now I'll go back to my layers and change the reference object line type. So here we can see the line type, and there we can see the reference object. Okay, so this is my reference layer and this is the line type of my reference layer. I'll change it to hidden, one of the loaded line types. And here if I click OK, so now it is hidden. And now if I close this and if I see my diagram as well, that contains hidden lines. Okay, so that is how we can technically manage how layer can be used, or how basically properties can be changed. For example, my client told me the color of the dimension layer should be blue. So I can simply go for layers and I can change the color to blue. So all the objects which are in that particular layer, which is of yellow color, will automatically turn to blue. Now let's say, for example, I created some object. I wanted to create few objects in object layer, but I by mistakenly created few objects in dimension layer. And then I didn't recognize in which layer I'm working. So what I can do now is I can even select my object and change the layer to object. Okay, so this is how you can change the layer. For example, you want to keep one of these circle in the dimension layer, I can change it to dimension layer. If I want to keep this circle to the object layer, I can change it to object layer. The only important thing here is you have to select. So you have to select and then change. Okay, without selecting, if you change, so you are changing the current layer. So now the current layer is object. Now if I create anything, it will be inside the object layer again. Okay, now along with layers there are 3 basic properties, that is on, off, freeze and thaw, and lock. Okay, lock and unlock. So let's just see the properties here. So if I turn off any layer, for example, let's say I'm working with the dimension layer now. So if I turn off the layer, you can see the object is invisible. Similarly, if you freeze the layer, the object is invisible. Okay, so technically we are not going in detail about what is the difference between turning off and turning or freezing the layer. Okay, we are not going into that detail. Again, if I lock the layer, you can see it is slightly dimmed. Okay, but it is kind of not selectable, like you cannot delete it, as you can see, or we cannot move it. So if I try to move this anywhere, if I I'm in the move command, and if I try to move it, it will not work. Okay, so all those things will be restricted. Visibility will be there, but every editing will be restricted. So I can unlock it from here. So if you want to lock some layers to work in the drawing in a more efficient manner, you can do that. Now the best part about layer is, if you want, let's say this particular layer should not come in printout. Okay, let's say I don't want my reference layer to be the part of my printer. So I can just turn this option off, printer option off. So what will happen, any object in the reference layer will not technically be a part of my printer. Now how exactly you can change that, I'll explain you after some time once we go to the printing and plotting related section. So this is how you can create or manage layers. Now one very important thing, 0 layer is a default layer and this layer cannot be deleted. Okay, so you cannot destroy this layer, that is 0 layer. And sometime you might also find a layer called Defpoint. Okay, sometime you might also find a layer called Defpoint. Okay, and this layer is also not deletable layer. So you can delete any other layer which you have created, but the software will create 2 layers like 0 and Defpoint layer, and these are not deletable. Now one very important thing here, if anything is present inside the Defpoint layer, it will not be printed. Okay, anything present inside the Defpoint layer will not be printed. So many people have a confusion, like when they create the drawing, there is nothing coming in the printout. The reason is because the drawing might be in the Defpoint layer. Okay, because of any mistake. Okay, so if you are using layers, this is how you can use technically the layer command. Okay, there are many more things to layers. Okay, if you want the advanced explanation or if you want a detailed explanation of layer, you can comment in the section below. Okay, so that I can understand there is a requirement of understanding layers, and then I can create a full proof video of explaining each and every function of layers, all the function which I have not touched, because this is what is very important, which I have just covered, and this is what is very important and sufficient as well for using or working with layers. Okay, so have a great day ahead. Happy learning.